Good morning. Aloha. E komo mai. Welcome to Hawaii. Welcome to the first World Conservation Congress ever to be held in the United States. We begin at an extraordinary moment in American history, in world history. We live in a time of massive ecological disruption, one that cannot be accurately described without sounding downright apocalyptic. We struggle with the impacts of climate change and drought and massive biodiversity loss in our forests and in our oceans. But over the last few years, there's growing reason for optimism. After all, we have some significant dynamics working in our favor. First, global political will continues to grow, and it's true that it's not yet enough, but for the first time, it looks like many of the world's leaders get it. Leaders responsible for infrastructure, for public health, for safety, for prosperity, see with their own eyes that economic progress relies on environmental stewardship. Now, we in the environmental community have been saying this for years, but it's now become self-evident to insurance companies, infrastructure agencies, disaster management professionals, and farmers. It is simply cheaper and smarter to deal with climate change than it is to rebuild after superstorms. It is simply cheaper and smarter to maintain ecosystems that give us clean water than to ruin them and try to clean up the mess later. And this idea is increasingly mainstream. The people who care about birds and butterflies and the people who care about money are finally in agreement. It just makes sense to take care of the earth. And so with that new perspective, starting with the Paris climate deal last year and continuing this week at the World Conservation Congress, the world's leaders are taking action. And it has been an action-packed couple of years. In oceans, as we all know, but it's worth repeating over and over again, last Friday, President Obama established the largest marine protected area on the planet, Papahanaumokuakea. His proclamation, let's give it another hand, it deserves it. I like it when they put the lights on the crowd. I see so many friends. Thank you. His proclamation will protect biodiversity in the Pacific and allow our tuna fishery to replenish itself. And this was the result of community activism, scientific support, Native Hawaiian leaders, and as usual, essential American leadership. In addition, over the last several years, President Obama has protected hundreds of millions of acres of land to protect thousands of threatened species and fight climate change. The Land and Water Conservation Fund, the most successful conservation program in our country's history, has been extended. In clean energy in America, after extending tax credits and shoring up support for the President's Clean Power Plan, in the first part of 2016, all of the new electricity generation in America was clean energy. All of it. Here in Hawaii, we have a first-of-its-kind law, 100% clean energy by the year 2045, and we are still on track with record solar and wind installations year over year. And so we have a long way to go. The situation remains urgent, but what gives me great hope is knowing that this room is full of people who devote everything that they've got to protecting the only planet that we share. I'd like to end with a story. In the Hawaiian rainforest, the center of life is the ohia tree. It's the spiritual center. It's visually the most noticeable, and it's the most important in terms of ecology and forest health. 2 years ago, people reported that ohia trees were abruptly dying, and forest researchers took notice. In 2013, they observed just under 2,300 affected acres with massive ohia mortality rates and no explanation, just a name for what they were seeing: rapid ohia death. The next year, it was quadruple that amount. and now that figure is roughly 38,000 infected acres, 5% of the rainforest on Hawaii Island. Resource managers were honestly terrified. Everything they work for in terms of invasive species management, habitat restoration, all of it in danger because of rapid ohia death. And so every state, federal, nonprofit, and research agency on Hawaii Island formed a team, cobbled together funding, and collaborated to attack the problem. They now have some money, not enough if there are any generous individuals in the room yet. They do have some money, a few scientific breakthroughs, a resource management plan, and for the first time, real hope of saving Hawaii's rainforest. I don't know how this story ends. That's because we are still battling to save the ohia tree on Hawaii Island. And for the Forest Service, for the Park Service, for local conservationists, for people who care about this on the Big Island, this is the fight of their professional lives. I think they will win, but no one can be sure. But here's what I do know. I know that each one of you has your own fight in your home country, in your own organizations, and you are all trying to save your portion of the only planet that we've got. We will win many, as we did with Papahanaumokuakea and as we are with clean energy, and we will no doubt lose some too. But what makes the World Conservation Congress in Hawaii extraordinary is that all of you are in this fight in your own ways to preserve what is special about our island Earth. From the bottom of my heart, on behalf of the people of Hawaii, on behalf of future generations, thank you for what you do, and best wishes for a productive Congress. Aloha.